Good morning.
Morning to you.
Good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine.
For the benefit of our viewers here, who is Mr. Karani?
Mr. Karani, in full name, that's Dennis Karani. I'm a clinical officer by profession. And I also coordinate gender-based violence, adolescent and youth programs in the sub-county. That's Changamwe and Jomvu. Yeah.
So coordinator, what do you, when you're mentioning about being a coordinator,
Okay.
what does it involve exactly?
What involves, it's wide, because like now, let's say with the adolescent and youth programs, I will make sure that under the Department of Health, all programs concerning youth are running fluently or concurrently at the facility levels and even at the community level.
Right.
If it's gender-based violence, we make sure that at the facility level, all cases are handled well and transferred to the police, or even if we need to appear at the court, I make sure all the healthcare workers who have handled the cases appear at the court when needed.
Now, our topic of discussion is taming teenage pregnancies. Before even we get too far, you know, somebody will be worried. And with the current situation, how is the numbers are? What are the statistics from your table?
Okay. As per now, if I give you maybe, let's say, 4 years down the line, the numbers at least are reducing. Also, after we launched our strategic plan, Mombasa County strategic plan, that was around 2018, and having now
Strategic plan on what?
A youth strategic plan, which encompasses the adolescent and the youth together. Now, this one is how we can deal with the youths one-on-one and maybe involve them actively in any decisions to make under the facility levels and anything to deal with the health. Yeah. So when we launched it, and from there we have different activities or programs which we run at the facility levels, at the community, under the Ministry of Health or Department. You know, since we are involved now with Department of Health, we have different programs, and I'm thankful for the county government of Mombasa, because they have launched different programs with the youth, and we involve them actively to work with that, hand in hand with them, and we involve them actively in the decision making, so that they feel like they are part of us. You know, they say there's nothing for them without them, so we have to make sure they are on board with us. So if I give you the statistics, maybe if you allow me, I can just read.
Right, no problem.
Because, you know, numbers, sometimes you have to give the exact numbers. Let me not give you the wrong numbers, and then later you say, hey, guy, you gave us wrong numbers, which maybe they're not tallying. Then it will be on a wrong side.
Right.
Okay, let's say like in 2016, 10 to 14, that was 10, 14 years, we had 413. And then
Cases of teenage pregnancy.
Yes, that was 2016. Then 15 to 19, we had 4,344. Then when we went to 2017, we had 10, 15 years, which was 368. And then 15 to 19 was 7,164. As you can see, by then the number went high.
Right.
And then 2018, that's when I told you we launched also the strategic plan. Now, we had 258 for 10 to 14. And then for 15 to 19, we had 6,664. The number started going down. Then 2019, 10 to 14 years, we had 49. And 15 to 19, we had 3,635. You see how far the numbers have just gone down strategically. The graph is going down. And then 2020, we had 44. For that's 10 to 14 years. And then 15 to 19, we had 2,321.
Right.
Then now 2021, where we are now, we have 20, that's 10 to 14 years, and then 2,239. That's the data for the county.
Right.
Maybe even,
Mombasa County at large.
Yeah, at large. Maybe if I come down now to our sub-county level, maybe Changamwe, let's say 2019, 10 to 14, we have only 2. 15 to 19, we had 299. 2020, 10 to 14, we had 2. And then 15 to 19, we had 277. 2021, 10 to 14, we had 7. The number went a bit high. And I think also this one, it was the reason because now and we encourage every mother to access ANC services.
Right.
We have at least the focus and prenatal care, which we need everyone to access to reduce the maternal death.
Right.
So, and then 15 to 19 was 255. And then for Jomvu, the same also. 7 for 2019 was 7. That's the 10 to 14. 15 to 19 was 479. 2020 we had a 0 for 10 14. And then 15 to 19 we had 298. Then 2021 we had 3 for 10 14, and then we had 324 for 15 to 19.
Right.
Now, as you can see, if you use that data, then now we go to the count at large. As you can see, the numbers have fallen down.
They're going down.
The graph is falling, and that's what we want.
Very true. And you'll be explaining to me also, looking at the data that you've mentioned, it's going down. You'll be telling me one or some of the reasons as to which it's making the numbers to go down, and some of the efforts that you guys are doing in bringing the numbers down. But before even we get to the numbers, the actual sense of it, the reason is some people will think, and this is not the very first time we're talking about teenage pregnancies. This is a topic that has been there. Everyone is speaking about teenage pregnancy. If we move to our schools, we tell the young girls, make sure that you take good care of yourself. There is teenage pregnancies out there. Do you feel this is a fight that we are not winning, and we'll keep on talking about teenage pregnancies until Jesus comes back?
I can answer on both sides. But for me, I feel we are winning. As much as I said I can answer on both sides, but for me, strongly, I feel we are winning. You know, data speaks a lot, and data is everything. We use the data to say our winning and our losing. It's like me give you an example. When you are in a football match, 2 teams are playing. You can, from the data, you can tell now this team is winning by the number of goals they have scored.
Right.
And the other team is losing by the number of goals they have been scored. So for us, the data also speaks a lot. You know, it's a multisectoral approach. We need to have everyone on board. The parents, policymakers, the community leaders, and everyone. You cannot say just maybe the parents alone.
Is that happening?
Yeah. That's why, as I told you, if you can see the numbers, they are going down because we are using that approach, and really it's working. Because now, those ones who are telling their girls to get married early, the pressure from the community for you to marry your girl at early age, the parents now, they have been, we have done the sensitization, they have been sensitized, and if now after the sensitization, they are well aware now why it's wrong to do that. And if we get you have done that, then for us, we deal it like, we just use it, say that you are broken the law.
Right.
It's the right of this girl, young girl, to access quality education, to enjoy her youth, to enjoy her adolescent age. Let her enjoy it to the maximum, and then when the time comes to get married, let her get married the right way.
Right.
Instead of marrying her at an early age, denying this girl, number one, you will deny her the right for education. There's the right to access health care, quality health. This girl needs a quality health. And when I say quality health, we know once this girl gets pregnant, so many risks comes about. So there is this age of 10 to 14. The age of 10 to 14, that the most people are at risk. And they're the people which so many people have overlooked. Even the parents, even the community at large. In a way that we can say they have overlooked it because they assume maybe a 10-year girl is not sexually active.
Right.
But as you can see, the data says so that some of them do get pregnant at that age, 12 years, 14 years.
Right. And amongst the different causes, I know there are so many, but topmost that has been mentioned with in relation to leading to teenage pregnancies numbers going up They mention poverty and negligence from parents. How true is that?
It is. Like now, let's say poverty. When you see the data, the most people, young girls who are pregnant, the teen pregnancy, those teens who are pregnant most come from the slum areas.
Right.
And in these slum areas, that's where we see the rate of poverty is high. This girl cannot access to get sanitary towels. So she will go out to look for someone to buy for her the sanitary towels. She'll go out there if she has an empty stomach, someone will tell her, I'll give you something little to get food, and in exchange of sex. And the parents, because now they live hand to mouth, they have to work, and they go to work an extra mile. And when a parent has to work an extra mile, maybe she wakes up at 5, goes maybe to Kongoya, buy some kales, the vegetables and all fruits, come and sell, and she closes maybe around 8 or 9. Between this time, she doesn't meet the children, and so she doesn't have quality time with the kids. And you know, when you don't have quality time with your kids, then you never know what they're undergoing, the problems they're facing out there. And
this quality time you're talking about, what is it like? Talking to them or what?
Yes, you need, as a parent, you need to be a friend to your kid. And when I say a friend, put aside you being a parent, you also you have to be a friend. Let that kid be free to open to you. You know, when you are very close to your kid, and you can talk everything that she undergoes, then any change she gets through, she'll just come to you. Like now, if you are my best friend, when I have any issue, who will I run to?
Me, of course.
Yes, because I feel comfortable, secure with you, isn't it?
Right.
So if you as a parent, you don't have that quality time with your kid, then this kid will look for comfort somewhere else. And once this kid look for a comfort for somewhere else, maybe this comfort, maybe let's say she goes out there, she has friends, and maybe a male child, and that's where now the issues comes in. This male child maybe provide comfort, tell her, okay, I'll buy you sanitary pads, provide some lunch. The next thing, the girl is pregnant.
Right. Now, I know you have maybe sisters, your neighbors, relatives who are young girls, and if you, in your capacity as a person who handles matters about adults and youth programs, when you see or meet any case of a young girl, school girl being pregnant, how does that make you feel as a person who has relative and maybe, for instance, even a parent?
Sometimes I feel like crying. You know, you feel there's emotional, because now when you see this young girl, you see like there's a lot she has lost. It's either this girl will either maybe continue the education while she's pregnant, go to until she delivers, and after delivery, she'll walk out of school. She'll not continue with school, because she'll have to go, if the parents are not able to provide for the kid or the child who has been brought on board, then now the young girl will have to go back and maybe look for some jobs here and there, maybe house girl jobs, to provide for her kid. So do you think this girl will continue with the education?
No way.
No way. And secondly, if she delivers and maybe she doesn't get any support to go back to school, then she just stay at home and do nothing else.
Right.
And even if she goes back to school, you know, some of them will always live in that, like, atakuwa na uoga na aibu saa ingine, anaona wengine wanamwangalia kama she's not worthy. So that's why we create a lot of sensitization, and we have gone on board to create what we call teen pregnancy support groups.
Right.
This one at least, and teen mothers support group. These teen mothers are those ones who have already delivered, and they have undergone the challenges, and maybe some of them have gone back to school, and or maybe if they have not gone back to school, they have been able to go back to tertiary colleges at least to get 1 or 2 skills to fend for themselves.
Right.
So this team mother support groups is one way of maybe they meet, they share the challenges they see and how they can overcome the challenges, and it's working.
Right.
Like let's say in our sub-county in Kibaran we have one. We go to Bankla we have also another one. In Miritin we have one. In Jomvu we have one. Like in Changamwe also we have at Chani one. And in Portruiz we are in the process of also putting one. Right. Like now on Friday in Jomvu we'll have a session with them. So we are encouraging parents to let their young girls come and we interact with them, which will happen at Jomvu Model Health Center. And you'll be also telling me whether if a young girl gets pregnant now, is it the end of life? Does that mean that she's doomed to fail in the entire life? And how can a young girl start afresh and begin to make sure that if she was not in school, she gets back to school and continues and be somebody, even in as much as she got pregnant while she was in school? But I want to take a short break here. But before I go, there's this question of how can we make sure we do not allow poverty to make us get more and more teenage pregnancies? It's all about empowerment. From who? From as I started, I said it's a multi-sectorial approach. It's not a one-person war. We need us as the county government, you as the parents, community leaders, NGOs. Let's empower these people. And the problem we Kenyans, right, me being one of them, sometimes we have to wait for manna to fall from heaven. That's the problem. If we just say that, I can do it, let me fend for my kids. Because I'm sure if we just go an extra mile, no one is poor. Right. As much as we know there is unemployment, the rate is high. But also sometimes we can create our own. Giving you an example, personally, after finishing my high school, I had my good grade, but by then I could not access college. And I really wanted to do medicine. So the other courses I found, they were not worth for me. And also, I had to wait for maybe to get fee. So I went further, I looked for a little capital, went to Kongwaya. By then I used to live at Shimanzi, the Asian quarter. Then I had another brother at Shimanzi. So I looked for a little capital, went to Kongwaya, bought some few things here and there, and I used to sell. And I used to make good money. I was like, kumbe kuna pesa hapa. Could sell sukuma wiki, fruits. At the end of the day, I started with the little capital. And you are a hustler. Yeah. I'm not saying that I'm a hustler, but at the end of the month, I found like I started with maybe bringing like tomatoes maybe like for 150. Wow. I went to I started thinking I could bring a whole crate of tomatoes, and that's why I tell people, if we just go an extra mile, push yourself an extra mile, but that does not mean you sacrifice time for your kids. Right. Also have time for these kids. Very true. Very key. Having time with your kids is very key. Yeah. But of course, now, are you trying to rule out those who kind of blame poverty to be part and parcel of the increased number of teenage pregnancies? Yes. Right? Let's not use poverty as an excuse. Because if you get some of them, like when you get like a 40-year or a 30-year, impregnating a young girl, do we have to say it's poverty only? No. It's all about not being able to be there for these young kids, because we don't, as a parent, we don't take our responsibility fully. We have what we call positive parenting, and it's a session which we have been doing also. The parents have to be there for the kids. As I told you, you be a friend to your kid, then the kid will always be there, will be open to you, and will always tell you what she or he is undergoing. The changes, because at the 10 to 19 years, they are undergoing a lot of changes. Right. And during the developmental changes, that's when they need their parents to be there for them. As much as the teachers are there for them, as much as they're friends, but you as a parent, you should be the first friend for this kid. Let them know that when I'm doing this, then this will happen. If I do this, these are the consequences. So that after she gets pregnant and she already told her, now she'll know, okay, this I was told, but it's because of my negligence. But if you indulge with these young girls, you'll be surprised to get that most of them, they don't know that these are the developmental changes they will undergo. Apart from being taught at school. Now
there's still more that they do not know.
They need to know even at home. Like now, as a county government, we have what we call Skills for Life. It's a toolkit we administer to these peers. We call the peers, as per now, we are targeting them from the 15 to 19 under the project called FIRE. And we use peer educators who are the youths to administer the same toolkits to these adolescents and teens. And it's working. It's working. Tremendously working. Because now, most of them, they are opening up. They're telling us, oh, we didn't know this happening. We don't know that it's these services, these sexual and reproductive health services which you are being offered at these facilities. So you can tell them, okay, if you are sexually active and you don't want to indulge, you know you have started indulging yourself in sexual activities, then it's better you access contraceptive. And if you have not started, then it's better you abstain.
Very true.
But this knowledge has to be cascaded down from the parents and even us, the healthcare providers, and all other partners.
That is what you're talking about, the multisexual what? Approach. Very true. We are talking about solving and finding a solution to reduce the number of our young girls getting pregnancies, particularly those who are in schools. Where do we start from?
As I said, it's all about from the community level, going up to the national government. But now, let's deal where we are in the county government level. At the community level, we always do dialogues, community sensitization, where we include all community leaders. And also, like now, let's say like in our sub-county, we have different program coordinators. And when we come in as all program coordinators, we work hand in hand from our MOH going downwards to myself. We have the reproductive health program coordinator, we have the health promotion officer, we have the public health officers. All those, we have to work hand in hand. Public health officer will help us to create awareness, health promotion will help us create awareness. Reproductive health to make sure that the sexual reproductive health services are offered to these teens. We have the SCGB, that's issues with HIV/AIDS. Testing is done to these girls. They know that if you are active, you are involved sexually active, and you involve yourself in unprotected sex, then be aware that you will have maybe, if you don't get pregnant, you get HIV. If you don't get HIV, STIs are there. In our facilities, we have what we call youth-friendly centers. In every sub-county, we have standalone youth-friendly centers, and these youth-friendly centers assist us to provide services to these teens and youths. And most of the time, we use the youths themselves to get these teens and the youths who have come to access the services. Because most of the time, when the youth come to the facility, they kind of feel like maybe an odd one out, or if they feel like they have come for contraceptive, sometimes they will fear. But if they meet a fellow youth, they will talk to her, and then this youth will just direct her to the right place where she can access the service. If
I may get you right, are you advocating for the teenage girls to start using contraceptives?
I'm not advocating they start, because they are using. It's something which is on the ground.
Is it something that you think it's the way we should go?
As I've told you, I'm not advocating for it because it's already there. It's like now you're telling me you advocate for them to be sexually active or they indulge in unprotected sex. And yet, when you see the data tells us what? They're sexually active, and they are being involved in unprotected sex. So if they are indulging in unprotected sex and the numbers of teen pregnancies are going high, then we have to go for to look for an option which will assist us reduce this teen pregnancy, isn't it? Because for sure, Shadrach, these young girls are at risk. The complications which follows are high. It's either maternal death or complications during birth,
right,
or even after birth. This girl can also stop schooling. If it's health issues, we have like fistulas, and if not fistula, maybe the girl has to undergo cesarean section. And this is a young girl who is undergoing a lot of challenges at that time. You can see.
Right.
So if we say that we don't give them what is the right, it's their right to access the right health services. And sexual reproductive health rights, it's a right.
It's a right.
And we have to tell them now, since you have already, this is there, you are already doing this, then now can you please try and protect yourself from this? And how can you protect yourself from getting pregnant? Maybe use contraceptive.
Right.
2, if you don't use contraceptive, even condom is a contraceptive.
True.
So you are not only saying that they use the other forms of contraceptive. You can use even a condom during a sexual intercourse. Please use a condom, because a condom is a whole round protective way to protect you from getting pregnant, protect you from getting STIs, protect you from getting HIV. So we are not advocating for them, but it's already there.
Yeah, we have no option. It's like you're telling us there is no option. We better use it.
The option is there, Kwamba. If it's either you stop, you don't get sexually active. For those who have not started, don't start.
They don't start.
And for those ones who have started,
use this.
Then it's because I'm sure even if I tell you don't do it, tomorrow I will meet you at the facility coming for ANC service.
Right.
And if I meet you there now, you tell me you never told me that there's contraceptives.
Right. So that is in line with the girls and the adolescents that you're talking about.
Yes.
If you're to speak to parents, what is their role in trying to reduce the numbers now?
Number one, as I told you from when we started, as a parent, create more time with your kid. Be the best friend of our kid.
Okay.
Because if you don't...
But the question will be, when we look at maybe the statistics from urban areas and the rural areas, you find that mostly the numbers are so high in the rural areas. And in the rural areas is where you find maybe parents have got time with their kids compared to those in urban, simply because in urban you have to wake up, go to work and do stuff. Why do you mention about how creating time with the kid, whereas when we look at the rural areas, parents are there at home, meters away?
Okay, having time, it doesn't mean when you just sit there, you just wake up, go to the shamba, come sit down there, that's all. That's not the time I mean.
Right.
When I say time, have time to sit with your kid. As a mother, sit with your daughter.
Right.
Talk with your daughter.
Real talk now.
Yeah. Tell her this is what is in the ground. If you do this, if you indulge in and protect yourself with a man, my daughter, maybe you are 14 years or 12 years and you have already begun you receiving your menstruation or your periods. If you indulge in unprotected sex, my daughter, you get pregnant.
Right.
So if you tell her this is the thing on the ground, this is the reality on the ground, now you have given her the option to choose. It's either to get active and get pregnant,
right,
or protect herself. And now, also that's why you are saying, let them know that because some of them, they just do it out of peer pressure. My friend has a boyfriend. So even I
must find one.
I must also do that and see, and also test. That's inquisitive. They have, at that age, from the 12 to 19, they are very inquisitive. They don't want to know everything. So as a mother or a parent, take time, sit with your kid, talk to them, let them know that this is what's happening on the ground.
Right.
And also, as a parent, you can have a one-on-one talk. Let them know that when maybe if you use this one, you protect yourself.
And also parents have that tendency of shying away to speak about issues of sex and sexual activities to their daughters and sons, owing to the fact that we are Africans. Do you feel also that kind of mentality is something that is derailing the efforts to reduce the numbers?
Very true. Because sexuality is something we should talk. We should be free to talk with our kids.
Right.
Let them know that. That's why I've told you, not having just quality time, but just sitting there out tumetoka kwa shamba, you sit there and just eat, and then now, that's not the time I mean. Take time, sit with your young girl, let them know they know that you know the changes they're undergoing, the sexuality issues. Don't shy away from talking with them. You know, as even in the curriculum nowadays, something which is there. Go and talk to a class 5 girl. She'll tell you that this is the changes of a man, this is the changes of a... Because there's a day I was with some of the kids, when I was talking to them, I asked, like, which changes do boys undergo? And a girl raised their hand up and said, wet dreams. That's a class 5 girl.
Right.
So tell me, a class 5 girl, how old is she?
Around, I don't know, it depends nowadays.
But even at, let's say, like 12?
12?
Yes,
11,
yeah.
right.
11, yeah. So if she knows that a boy undergoes wet dreams, so she knows what's happening, in she knows the changes they're undergoing through them. So it's a high time even the parents sit down, talk with the kids. Let's not shy away from this.
Very true.
It's our responsibility. So when we were talking about what the measures we as a county government have taken.
Before we get to the measures, there is this point that is coming here. We also have the issue of modernization, technology. You know, things are coming up every time and again. How do we get, as a society and as a community, how do we get to balance between using this stuff so positively that cannot impact in such things like teenage pregnancies?
Take time to see what your kid is going through, the phones. It's good, yes, your kid has a phone, but sometimes sit down, go through the history of what the kid has browsed. Because that way you'll know that maybe she's accessing maybe stuff which are beyond her age, and you can advise her. Maybe she's accessing pornographic materials. That way you can talk to her, and even you can limit her to continue, because these ones also exposing this kid to the same, because what she's seeing is what she'll go and practice out there. Because after seeing the pornographic materials, she'll want also to go and do it. And maybe if assuming today she has kissed, tomorrow she'll want to go further. Right. The third day, she'll indulge in sex.
And the next time, it's pregnancy now.
It should come now, the belly is out.
Right. Now, you're telling me that you have some quite of programs that you do in line with taming teenage pregnancies. What are some of them? Okay,
number one, we have, as I said, we have the standalone youth-friendly centers. These youth-friendly centers, they are run by the youths themselves. You are indulging the youths, they're in one-on-one. They have to help us reach these teens. You know, when
do you feel like youths can open up to their fellow youths?
Yeah, very much. Like now, when you are with maybe an old man and someone of your age and someone younger than you, whom will you open much to? You yourself, like as Shadrach.
Maybe somebody who are the same age bracket, right?
Yeah. So the same thing. These youths, most of them, they are around from the age of 15, 16 to 24. So they have their own youth organizations, the CBOs, which they have registered. So we indulge them, and they assist us running the daily running of these youth-friendly centers, where they have to be there to assist us, maybe create the sensitization to the fellow youths of the availability of these services. Bring them maybe for counseling. You know, it's not all about only accessing the contraceptive. There's so many
counseling
services.
is also key.
It's very key. You know, even these young people are undergoing depression. They need a lot of counseling. They need to feel like they are owned. They are not alone. You know, also when one is depressed, maybe we'll think of suicide, and if not suicide, we'll do something funny which will endanger his or her life. Two, we have integrated, where we don't have standalone youth-friendly centers, we have integrated these services.
What is that?
Integration is like, we have healthcare workers, youth healthcare workers who have been trained on youth services. And they are there to provide the services for these youth and the peers. So, the teams, that is. So, we have the youth still who are stationed at these facilities there. As much as we don't have a standalone, some of the youths will assist us to provide services to these teens and the youth.
Right.
And most of them, they are youths. The healthcare workers, majority of them, they are youths.
The youth.
Yeah, because they say that maybe these all healthcare workers, they have attitude towards them. But some of them, they are good, and we have tried to create to train them to reduce that issues with the attitude. But majority of them nowadays, we have those who have been trained on the youths, issues with youths. They are the healthcare workers who are youths. So where we have integrated, we make sure that these are the champions. Then out there we have also youth champions. These youth champions, they help us sensitize the youths of the availability of the services.
Why are they called champions?
Champions because they lead in that. Because when you are a champion, you are an elite on the same thing. We have trained you, now champion this issue out to the youths now. Since
Do we have champions who have who are previously maybe they got themselves into that bracket of teenage pregnancies and now they become people?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Is that what you mean?
Some of them have undergone this same issues, and some have been trained.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we say champions, you are either trained on the same, or you have undergone the issue, and now you are out there to advocate against the same.
Right.
Yeah.
True. We have someone who maybe fell into that bracket and that gap over getting a teenage pregnant, and he's wondering, can I get myself out of this and be somebody somewhere and pick up the pieces and begin starting afresh and make myself and my life to be so good? Is it possible?
Very possible.
Does it mean it's not the end of everything?
Getting pregnant is not the end of everything. That's not the end of life. There's life.
You mean I get pregnant, a girl gets pregnant at 12, you tell me it's not the end of everything?
Yes. It's not a death sentence. Okay, as much as you get pregnant at 12 years, let's not be more of like judgmental.
Right.
We can say maybe it was a mistake. She never knew if she indulged in this, then she should get into this. And by them, as a way of warning also, let these people who are involved with these young kids know that when you impregnate a young girl or you indulge in sexual intercourse with a young girl of below 18 years, that's defilement. And defilement, in the law of court, that's gender-based violence.
Right.
And you will be sentenced as per according to the age bracket. This is the way they have divided the age bracket with the sentence number of years. Like saying 12 years, I think it should be around 25 years and above. Again to 16 years, the same also, I think 20 years, if I'm not wrong, but I will counter check.
But some people have also poked holes into some of these court sessions and laws, talking about gender-based violence and issues about maybe, people say it's being unfair to the men. For instance, if you find, like now me, if I get to be involved sexually with a young girl, I'll not have space to explain myself, whether if we had a consensual out of it, they will not listen to that.
What does the Constitution say about consent or the law? That is an under 18 years girl or a teen able to consent for anything, even a health service.
But nowadays our kids, they grow, their mind is so quick.
Doesn't matter.
They know much.
Doesn't matter how much they grow, how fast they grow. The law is still the law. And the law will stand always to be the law.
Don't you feel such of the laws that you're talking about here, for instance, the consent one, you feel also is something that needs to be relooked at it?
No. Let it stay that, because, you know, if for us to reduce these teen pregnancies, because even some of them is due to early marriages.
Mm-hmm.
You as a whole man marrying a 12-year-old kid, does it make sense?
If it was out of from, we had a mutual agreement.
There's no issue with the mutual agreement, Shadrach. Assuming this is your sister, and someone comes and tells you, yes, we agreed with that to have consensual sex.
For instance, if the girl comes and said, I agree with that, whatever the man is saying is true, we had a mutual agreement and we decided to do this and we are good with that, what will happen?
Is this girl able to fend for herself?
What do you mean able? And she has spoken openly enough.
Yes, that's what I've said. Apart from speaking for herself, because at the end of the day, if she's your sister, she will come back. If this man rejects her, whom will she come back to for assistance?
Mm-hmm.
It's you.
Right.
So, number one, if she was in school, she'll have to stop going to school maybe, take care of the kid maybe for 5 months, and if you are able and you have talked to her, she agrees to go back to school. Now, even if she goes back to school, some of them psychologically we are a bit disturbed.
Right.
You see.
Mm-hmm.
So, secondly, this girl is not mature enough to take care of the kid. There's not the issues with colic issues with the kid. The kid is not mature enough to take care of the other kid. No, this is a kid who has brought another kid on the world.
So you rule out any possibilities of consent, issues about mutual agreement when it comes to teenage pregnancies? Above
18 years, someone who has an ID,
that's good.
He or she can consent. But someone below 18 years, she cannot consent.
Right.
So you have taken advantage of this girl, because maybe she has not matured enough to know the good and bad of this, the merit and demerit of making that decision.
Mm-hmm.
So you as a young
is it an assumption that the law is making, or it's the reality?
It's the reality. We do talk with these girls. As I said, we have teen mother support groups, and most of them, when you talk to them, some of them even they don't have an idea of what really happened. They just did it out of curiosity. And maybe you ask her, okay, what did you expect after the sex? Maybe she had not even started receiving her periods.
Right.
So she thought, I'm safe.
Mm-hmm.
Or some of them, because they have gone through the social media, they know what we call the safe days.
Mm-hmm.
So, and since she doesn't know how to correctly count safe days, she's just assumed, or a friend told her how to calculate, and she calculated wrongly, and she's pregnant now.
Right.
So, in one or the other, psychologically we'll be torturing this girl.
There was that proposal to have the consent being lowered to 16 years.
Yeah.
Do you agree to it?
I don't
Looking at issues that are there and the kind of way our children are growing up so fast and the way their mind is so, active, do you feel it's high time we should lower the sexual consent to 16 years from 18 in itself?
I'm quite sure if it is lowered to 16, next time again, since as time goes by, these people are growing high.
Get to 10 or 13.
They want again to go to even 15. I think they'll be wanting to take advantage of this and moving the age lower every day.
Right.
So we rather stay with the 18 years, and maybe now it's high time maybe we as everyone, me, you, and others out there, sit instead of talking of lowering the age. You should be talking on how to save this young girl from getting pregnant and help her achieve her goals in life.
Right.
Finish her schooling, go to the university or tertiary colleges. At least, nowadays, it's what we have brought on the table and what I've brought on the table. We merge, we push the economy far.
Right.
But assuming this girl, she never went to school. She's not employed. She just waits for a husband to bring her home. What are we exposing her to? We'll be exposing her to what we call intimate partner, violence. And when we're exposing her to intimate partner violence, since she's not able to fend for her kids, she'll just have to sit there and always undergo the violence in the name of I cannot fend for my kids, and the husband is the one fending for the kids. So at the end of the day, now it has escalated further to a different case. Maybe like now there's a case when a woman was brought to Portruise. She was burnt by the husband with hot water. Nearly, that was around above 60% burn. And the issue is that the husband is the one fending, so I cannot go. Even after being treated, you want to just stay in that marriage. You see, we are denying these girls or these ladies the right to at least of freedom also say like, yes, I've brought. So even if you want to expose me to intimate personal violence, I'll stand with my right and say no. I would rather walk out if this water.
Because if I walk out, I have a way.
I can also still bring up my kids. I have my own support. So we have to create that awareness that these kids, let's support them to finish schools. If not everyone will go to obviously the university, but some will
go to basic knowledge, basic
education. Get tertiary colleges. Nowadays we have even tertiary colleges taking people even who have an E.
And they're becoming people. They do stuff.
They're becoming great people in this society. Now on the issue of maybe those ones who are already maybe got pregnant and moved on, we have so many people. We have so many ladies.
1 minute.
1 minute. Okay. In conclusion, we have so many ladies who have undergone the same and they are champions on the same, and they're assisting us to champion on the same issue that even after getting pregnant, there's life after that. The parents should assist us. These girls should go back to school. The government should set aside budget for the same. At least when we have done the sensitization, awareness, some of the girls are very ready to go back to the colleges, maybe, and to schools. But the issue they raise is that after going to school, what next? Who will take care of my fee or my kid? No, that's why the government should set aside at least a budget for the same. And these girls should be taken through, maybe if she cannot go back to high school or primary, then be taken to tertiary college. And then we will have empowered this girl. And I'm sure if we do that, we reduce the number.
Very true. That is the primary goal, reducing the numbers. We want next time when we come to sit here, we are not discussing teenage pregnancy, we are discussing something else, and teenage pregnancy will be something of the past, particularly we are in a different kind of generation.
Hopefully we'll come to discuss the success of the same.
But thanks so much for your time. We do appreciate whatever you're doing. If somebody wants to get to meet you, maybe your offices, where do you work, where can they find you?
Okay. But mostly we are at this, it's a sub-county which is at Portruise, because the two sub-counties is coordinated at Portruise, the sub-county offices. But we always go around the facilities at the community level to create sensitization. So you will not get us maybe seated in one place, but if you come to the sub-county level, at the sub-county offices and ask for us, we will just get us.
Definitely. Find Mr. Dennis Karani at Portruise Hospital. That's where they are situated, that is their station, but they normally go around and sensitize and talk to people about these all matters, including this one of teenage pregnancy, amongst others also like the gender-based violence is also part and parcel of that. And I do believe also we'll come one day and have a discussion concerning gender-based violence.
True, and there's something else before I forget. On 28th, we'll be launching the Murons at the Magunga Health Center. It's about the same issues of teen pregnancy. And at the same time, we'll be launching our youth-friendly, standalone youth-friendly center at Chani.
The same day?
The same day. We'll start with the launch.
Concurrent, or you'll start from?
We'll start from Chani, move to. The main activity will happen at Magongo. And also we'll have an InReach. In this InReach, we'll be offering services like HTS. We'll have
what is HTS? You know, some of us
issues with the HIV testing, family planning, cervical cancer, screening of cancer, and breast.
Here now.
Yes. Also, we'll have treatment of minor ailments, but it will be of youth activities.
Right.
We call it an AY Enrich.
On 28th of this month. Right.
It is a way of commemorating Teen Pregnancy Month, which is in October. Teen Pregnancy Month, Development and Mental Health Awareness Month.
Definitely.